The twin suns of Zorith, 9 dipped below the jagged horizon, casting the alien landscape in a soft, ethereal glow. The air was thick with the scent of luminescent flora, their petals shimmering in hues of violet and gold. In the heart of the dense jungle, a small clearing housed a crystalline pool, its waters reflecting the kaleidoscope of colors above. It was here that Lyra, a young alien girl from the planet Zeloria, found herself. Lyra was unlike any human. Her skin was a delicate shade of cerulean, with faint bioluminescent patterns that danced across her body like constellations. Her hair, a cascade of silver tendrils, seemed to float as if suspended in water. She had traveled far from her home, seeking solitude and a break from the chaos of her interstellar duties. Tonight, she sought the tranquility of the pool, unaware that her solitude was about to be shattered. Lyra had always been fascinated by the concept of invisibility. Her species possessed the ability to manipulate light around their bodies, rendering themselves nearly invisible to the naked eye. It was a skill she had mastered over the years, and tonight she decided to test it in the open. Stripping off her lightweight, iridescent tunic, she stepped into the pool, the cool water enveloping her like a second skin. She activated her light-bending ability, her body shimmering before fading from view. To her, it was a perfect illusion. She felt free, unobserved, and utterly at peace. But Lyra was wrong. Hidden among the towering, bioluminescent trees was Kale, a human explorer from Earth. He had been sent on a mission to study the flora and fauna of Zorith 9, but nothing in his training had prepared him for what he was witnessing now. Kale had been observing the pool from a distance, his advanced visor capturing every detail of the alien environment. When Lyra stepped into the pool, his breath caught in his throat. He had never seen anything or anyone like her. At first, Kale thought his visor was malfunctioning. Lyra's form flickered and shimmered, her body blending seamlessly with the surroundings. But as he adjusted the settings, he realized the truth. She was using some form of cloaking technology. His curiosity piqued. Kale zoomed in, his visor bypassing her light-bending ability. He saw everything. Her cerulean skin, the glowing patterns, the way her silver hair seemed to defy gravity. She was breathtaking. Kale knew he should look away. He was intruding on a private moment, and the guilt gnawed at him. But he couldn't. Lyra was unlike anything he had ever encountered, a living work of art. He felt a strange connection to her, as if the universe had conspired to bring them together in this moment. As Lyra bathed, she felt a sudden unease, a prickling sensation on the back of her neck. She paused, her senses heightened. Something was wrong. She scanned the clearing, her eyes narrowing as she searched for the source of her discomfort. Seeing nothing, she shook her head, chiding herself for being paranoid. She was invisible. After all, no one could see her. But Kale could. He held his breath as Lyra's gaze swept over his hiding spot. For a moment, he thought she had seen him, but she turned away, seemingly reassured. Kale exhaled slowly, his heart pounding. He knew he couldn't stay hidden forever. If Lyra discovered him, she would likely feel violated, and he couldn't bear the thought of causing her distress. But he also couldn't bring himself to leave. Not yet. Lyra emerged from the pool, her body glistening in the soft light. She deactivated her cloaking ability, her form solidifying once more. Kale's breath hitched as he took in the full sight of her. She was radiant, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing gently, as if in rhythm with her heartbeat. She reached for her tunic, slipping it over her head, the fabric clinging to her damp skin. Kale knew it was time to reveal himself. He stepped out from the shadows, his hands raised in a gesture of peace. Lyra froze, her eyes widening in shock. For a moment, they simply stared at each other, the air between them charged with tension. "I'm sorry," Kale said, his voice soft. "I didn't mean to intrude. I was exploring, and I saw you. I couldn't look away." Lyra's initial shock gave way to anger, her bioluminescent patterns flaring brightly. "You saw me?" she demanded, her voice trembling. "How?" "I was invisible." Kale hesitated, then tapped his visor. "This allows me to see things that are hidden. I didn't mean to invade your privacy. I've never seen anyone like you before." Lyra's anger wavered, replaced by curiosity. She studied Kale, taking in his human features, his short, dark hair, his hazel eyes, the stubble on his jaw. He was different from the being she was used to, but there was something about him that intrigued her. "You're from Earth," she said, more a statement than a question. Kale nodded. "Yes, I'm here on a research mission. I didn't expect to find—" "Well, you—" Lyra's lips curved into a small smile. "I didn't expect to be found." They stood in silence for a moment, the tension between them easing. Kale felt a strange sense of relief. He had feared Lyra's anger, but instead, she seemed curious, almost amused. "You're not like anyone I've ever met," Kale admitted. "You're beautiful." Lyra's smile widened, her bioluminescent patterns glowing softly. "And you're not like anyone I've ever met," she replied. Perhaps this was meant to happen. Kale's heart swelled with hope. Maybe it was. As the twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting the jungle in darkness, Lyra and Kale sat by the pool, talking late into the night. They shared stories of their worlds, their lives, their dreams. Despite their differences, they found a connection, a bond that transcended species and galaxies. In the days that followed, Lyra and Kale explored Zorith 9 together, their friendship deepening with each passing moment. Lyra taught Kale about her people's history and culture, while Kale shared tales of Earth and its wonders. They laughed, they argued, they learned from each other. And in the quiet moments, when the world seemed to fade away, they found solace in each other's presence. But their time together was not without challenges. Lyra's people were wary of outsiders, and Kale's presence on Zorith 9 was not without risk. They knew their friendship, and the feelings that were beginning to blossom between them, would not be easily accepted. But they also knew that what they had was rare, something worth fighting for. As the twin suns rose once more, casting their golden light over the jungle, Lyra and Kale stood at the edge of the crystalline pool, their hands intertwined. They knew the road ahead would be difficult, but they were ready to face it together. "I'm glad you saw me," Lyra said softly, her bioluminescent patterns glowing brightly. Kale smiled, his heart full. "I'm glad I did too." And as they stood there, bathed in the light of the twin suns, they knew that their story was just beginning.